Hi guys. Um, Technical issues over. Already had a few. Just thought I'd try something a little bit different today. Welcome to DOdaily. Your questions. So if you want to get involved, so I'm just going to move out of the way slightly because the sun's shining through the window. If you want to get involved, please do. And I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Please comment and I'll do my best. Can be anything. Anything you want. Coronavirus, even though I don't particularly like talking about it. But I'm here to allay any of your concerns. Just move the car keys out of the way. Running, activity, things you're up to. If you want to make any comments, please do. I'll be happy to do my best. Still flying a little bit from my birthday yesterday. Really good day. Really felt the love of the Do Running community. You know, got lots of nice presents and cards, so I'm feeling great today. Just been out for my activity as well. Got 5 miles in. Again, using it to run a few errands, so got a few jobs done on the way. Of course, I kept my distance. It's important to do that. Hope you've managed to get out today. The weather's actually amazing out there, as you saw by the screen glare to start with. It's really nice, and I do believe it's going to get cold on Sunday, but it's going to be nice until then. So please make the most of it. Stay active. It's good to see so many people out and about as well. I get to walk by the River Trent most days, and I know there's a lot of frustration out there, but seeing it as busy as it is whilst people are adhering to the rules is actually fantastic. It's a hive of activity just now, so yeah, it's really good. Like I say, fire your questions. I'll be here for 10, 15 minutes, asking anything. I'm trying to multitask. I've never done this before in this way, so please bear with me. Please do your best. Had a question come in, which I'm going to start with, and it's quite a common question, to be honest. As you might know by now, I do a lot of work with beginners and people doing couch to 5K. So it's the question we're going to start with today is, and it's a big concern. People worry a little bit about the breathing and breathing techniques. And the first thing I'm going to say about that is, well, I've already said it in a way, but it's not unnatural to be concerned about your breathing. Myself, I've been running now for a good while, and I still feel I struggle at times. There are a few little things we can do a few little techniques we can put into place to try and improve that. But what I'm trying to say to you initially is don't be too concerned. Sometimes you just fall into a rhythm. And to be honest, it's normally beginners who ask this question, or people up in the mileage, and a lot of it is down to fitness. I'm not saying it's all that, but a lot of it can be down to fitness and sort of building up. Of course, at the moment it's hot as well, so I always find that transition from winter to summer quite difficult. I started running in the summer, so I should be used to it by now. But over time, I found that running in the winter, in terms of breathing and your sort of your energy levels, can be a lot easier. I'm not saying running's ever easy, because it's not. But in the winter, I find it easier to run in the winter. What the winter does do is take it more out your legs, I find, and I used to find that playing football a lot as well. The winter you build your strength and your leg strength, and the summer you build your stamina, and that's probably why you see footballers go through a vigorous pre-season training program. Do you know, a lot of running, a lot of cardio work is probably just to build that sort of stamina level up during the hot times. But yeah, the things you can do to help yourself. The first thing is posture. So I've heard this many times. Lots of people say you need to run with your shoulders back. Well, your shoulders straight, to be honest. And one of the things you can do is almost pretend you've got a piece of string and reach up and pull your head back. That gives you it helps you breathe in a little bit. You know, your posture's right. Your airway's your airways are sort of open, a little bit more open, and you're probably breathing from a bit lower down in your stomach, so it makes it a lot easier to sort of do that. Sorry. Yeah, so posture's a good one, and it's good for technique as well. You're able to stride out a little bit easier sometimes if you want to run a little bit faster, or you want to run with a bit more sort of confidence. You feel big, and it helps in many ways, your posture. So one of them is your breathing. Another thing you can do is something called the two for. I've made a note here. The 2 for 2 rhythm motion. So basically, what that is you might inhale for 2 strides, and then you'd exhale for 2 strides. And by doing that, this would take practice. This is something you wouldn't do naturally because you wouldn't be thinking it. And if you are breathing and you do want to improve the techniques because you're a little bit concerned about it, like I say, some of it just comes naturally. But what you could do is work on this 2 for 2 technique. So you breathe in and you monitor that over 2 strides. Then the next 2 you're breathing out. If you was wanting to improve performance, you might make that a 2 for 1 rhythm. So you breathe in for 2, breathe out for 1, and that would help with build performance, and also just get you breathing quickly through the motion. Obviously, as you run faster, you're breathing quicker, you're moving, and you're taking up ground. So to start with, what I'd suggest is the 2 for 2. If that's something you really want to look at, like I say, there's lots of things you can do there. That would take practice. That would take time, and it would take working out. So that'd be completely up to yourself whether you wanted to go down that line. But again, if you're just starting out, and like I said, this is a major concern of those starting out. We're all a little bit unfit when we start out. Lots of us start out because we're unfit, and this could be a way of helping that. But what I'm trying to say is don't beat yourself up too much. I feel I'm still learning about breathing now. I'm a heavy breather, and I get a little bit embarrassed sometimes, and people are looking at me when I'm breathing. But the running is more important, and getting out and doing it. And I know I can run certain distances and certain paces, so I'm happy to sort of deal with that as well. One thing that kind of leads on from that. Well, there's a question there from Kay. Have you got any tips for keeping going in the hot weather? Well, first of all, what I suggest is trying some of those techniques. If it is the breathing that's the issue as well during those hotter times, of course, carry plenty of water. Keep yourself rehydrated. It's important before and after. It will help you whilst you're running, but it will also rehydrate you and make your recovery a lot easier and help you in the next time. You could always run less miles, of course. That's not always easy if you're training for something, but run a lot less but more frequent. That's what a lot of people do. It depends what you're working towards. Sorry, things are slipping off me. I told you I was trying to multitask today. Wear looser tops, run in open spaces, run away from the streets. Things like that will make it a lot more comfortable. And sometimes I think being comfortable gives you confidence. And when you've got confidence, you forget about some of the external factors. And that's the case for breathing and sometimes with the hot weather. So there's a few things you can do there. I'm looking as well. Dawn says she also gets pains in his shoulders whilst running. I've tried running with my chest out and shoulders straight. End up rounded shouldered. I'm not quite sure what that means, but tried running with my chest out and shoulders straight, but end up rounded shouldered. I'm not quite so sure you really sort of push your chest out, but it's just about trying to maintain that stance. It might be uncomfortable to start with, but it is a smoother action. it might take some getting used to. I tend to lean as well sometimes, and that's something you do. Again, it might come with fitness. It might come with a better breathing technique. You might be able to push back and push out. I've been looking into sort of breathing today, knowing I was going to talk about this first, and we need to try and breathe from the bottom of our stomach. There was no real explanation why, but apart from the fact that we need to sort of a deeper sort of energy base. We don't want to be breathing from in our chest, because we'd have to breathe in and out a lot more often. So it's almost a case of everything clicking at once. There was a question as well about hay fever and people running with hay fever today. There's lots of things you can do with this, to be honest. Hay fever affects a lot of people. It seemed to affect me a lot when I started running. And the usual things anybody would do for a hay fever is the first place I'm going to start with, is basically. So if you're in the home, you might shut the windows. Obviously, it's warm at the moment, and that's difficult. But there's things you can do around the home, like don't hang your kit out when it's particularly when pollen's high. One tip I did see with this, which I found particularly interesting, was eat local honey, or take in local honey. Obviously, honey is good for it anyway, but if you're a runner, one of the tips is to use local honey, because it's got the pollen from the natural air around us, so it might fight back a bit better than just the standard honey you might buy in the supermarket. So that, I thought that was particularly interesting. Sorry, I'm just looking at the questions and the comments. One thing you can do as well is avoid sort of grass areas and areas of plantation. So you might not, where we live in particular, there's a lot of canals and open fields. You might avoid those if you're struggling a little bit with hay fever. It's not always the best to do, and again, for other reasons, it's not always the answer, but you might run in built up areas, and away from any areas like that. You might run in sort of big, large sort of concrete open spaces. Just anything like that can help. On the other hand, we actually have a large river in Nottingham, and sometimes running by the river can actually help. Running by the river or the sea, it really helps. Of course, sometimes that's hiding with grass and plantation as well. So it's just about finding what works for you, and if you can get out and sort of avoid flowery areas and grass and things like that. And all these all tie into together, the breathing and the stance. It all might sort of click if you find at the right time you can be in certain places to run. If you can do that, then that's all good. So I'm just reading down a few things just to make sure I've not missed anything. And of course, you can look at your diet. There's things to do. Live a healthy, balanced diet. That's the same with anything, isn't it? And if we're runners, we like to think we do. We don't always, a bit too much cake and a bit too much drink on your birthday doesn't help. But and also multivitamins. I'm not one for them myself, but they can help. Just sort of a basic vitamin could help. Again, what you'd need to do really is ask a pharmacist about that and ask a specialist. It's not really my specialised area, but they're just a few things. That's just a few tips. Like I say, on a Thursday, what I'd like to do is, obviously I'm getting used to this still. I'm still building my confidence, and I've never really asked questions on the live feed. I'd like to get some more content sort of coming in. Try and answer some questions, try and allay some worries and some fears. Like I say, I tend to get a lot of questions about beginners and what they do, and sometimes it's just a case of getting used to what you're doing. We all go into it a little bit apprehensive and a little bit worried about, are we doing it right? I tend to think with my own breathing, and this is just what works for me. I just kind of deal with it, and if I look a bit silly when I finish a 5K, then that's the way it is. But like I say, I've done these things and it's not affected me. Breathing in particular is one of those things you can't train it. You know, we've all got our own rhythms, we've all got our own techniques. There's been studies done where it's proven that not two people are the same at this kind of thing. So sometimes it's just a case of finding what works for you. But like I say, going forward on a Tuesday, I want to sort of get used to answering your question. Thursday. I want to get used to answering your questions and being able to sort of give back a little bit of information and drive what the viewers are wanting to see back towards them, you see. So I apologise if I can't cover everything, but we'll do our best over the week. I'll be back in the morning. I'll have to get up early on the bank holiday. I'll have to get up. I want to get out for a walk. I love getting up on a Friday morning when before work and before the weekend. Slightly different this week. It will already be the weekend, but I still want to get up and out and attack the weekend. Hopefully, you guys want to go out and do the same. You know, make the most of the bank holiday. Don't indulge too much or whatever. If you've got any questions, any further questions about what I've spoken about today, please comment. You know, get in touch. There's at dorunning.org.uk. If you liked anything, please hit the thumb, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. And I'll just say, have a good weekend. Remember, get out there, stay safe, stay active, stay positive. That's the key thing. We've got another announcement looming over what's happening around us. So just bear with it. I'm sure we'll get there. Stay positive, guys. Just doing it. Thank you.